So my name is Cheryl Hicks. I'm the CEO of the Toilet Board Coalition. We are a business-led coalition focused on building the sanitation economy. And the sanitation economy, we believe, has the potential to transform our currently unaffordable costs of sanitation to sustainable and resilient business opportunities. The sanitation economy is made up of a marketplace of products, services, resources, and data. The toilet economy is our toilet and sanitation infrastructure, as well as hygiene products that go along with the toilet economy. The circular sanitation economy, which is the biological resources that sit within sanitation systems, upcycled into renewable resources such as energy, nutrients, and water. And the smart sanitation economy, which is sanitation systems digitized, where we are monetizing the data, information, and insights that we can draw from sanitation systems. And it's this alternative system of sanitation that the Toilet Board Coalition and its members have been supporting and building over the last 5 years, since 2015. And this is a series where we want you to get to know our members and the solutions that their organizations have been working on and are ready to build back better from COVID-19 with more sustainable and resilient sanitation systems of the sanitation economy. So I have with me today Valentin Post, who is the CEO of Finnish Mondial, seconded from the organization Waste, and Waste is a partnership council member of the Toilet Board Coalition. And Valentin is an expert in, I would say, circular sanitation approaches over many years. And so really happy to have you and your expertise talking with us today, Valentin. And we have a few questions to kick off, and just ask that you answer them from both your point of view as an expert in the circular sanitation space, but also from your organizational experience. So the first question that we have for you is, the sanitation economy and the organizations of the Toilet Board really are focused on business solutions for sanitation. And in your experience with Finnish Mondial and Waste, working on circular sanitation approaches and financing of sanitation for the most vulnerable. What are some of the approaches that you see as some of the most promising sanitation solutions, business solutions that have been developed over the past couple of years?
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. It's really a pleasure and privilege to have become a member of the Toilet Board Coalition. So thanks. I know you've been instrumental in this, and I know you're not doing it on your own. So also thanks for your fellow members. So what we do typically, we follow a approach which is called the diamond approach, where we start with demand generation for sanitation, but includes also now products which are made from sanitation, like you talked about nutrients or energy solutions. So that's for those, demand need to be generated as well. Then we work very much on the supply side of building sanitation systems. That can be smaller ones, or it can be standalone ones. And there you already referred to the employment element. We have built over the past couple of years more than 1 million sanitation systems. Now, if you look into employment in construction alone, we talk about more than 10 million working days. And that's significant. Even if you look into more details, one of the things in the sanitation economy as well is gender. And a lot of the employment that is being provided is being taken up by women. Then thirdly, you already referred to it, is on the financial side. So we have been relatively quite successful in mobilizing finance, local finance. And I say relatively quite, I said it deliberately, because we have been successful, but there's so much more to be done. And that's also, I think, where we can, by working together, we can achieve something more than what we have done till date. And the last part of the diamond is the government. So everywhere we work, we need to interact and act with the local government, be it at national level, be it at local level, or at state level. Having these numbers, one of the points you talked about is on the digital economy. And we have also a obligation to report on what we do, because part of our money is coming from donor money, taxpayers' money, and that need to be reported on back to the donor and to the taxpayers. And more we are moving to online monitoring of our results. And toilets, of course, have one advantage: they're very visible. So if you build a toilet, people can see it. If you produce co-compost from fecal sludge, you can see it. It's visible and it's being applied. So there's some. It has an advantage in the digital world, and since the numbers are sizable, it also leads to innovations. But let me stop here because I'm sure you have more questions.
I do, thank you. No, I mean you've really touched on all elements there of the sanitation economy, and really at scale. I mean we talk about scale equaling serving at least 1 million people with these new solutions to be on really the pathway to transformation. And so could you talk a little bit about that, and maybe just also for those that don't know Finnish Mondial, the program or waste very well, maybe just explain briefly those organizations, really significant and successful organizations applying these new approaches, and then talk about the trajectory now, and how COVID-19 and the increased awareness on sanitization, hygiene, and of course sanitation as the delivery system, you believe is changing your work, hopefully on the demand side.
Yeah, thanks. So Waste was one of the founders of the Finnish program, and we did together with two corporates from the financial sector. One was Tata IAG from India, and the other one was SNS Real at that time from the Netherlands. One was a full insurance group, and the other one was a banking cum insurance group. And insurance business works on scale. So we designed Finnish from the word go to scale. And what we did, we combined, let's say, the strong points from the civil sector with trying to include as many people as possible, looking at gender elements, making it participatory as much as possible, with strong points from the corporate sector, being client-focused, looking at lowering your transaction cost. So those are sort of anti-themas to the social sector, but combining those two and then bringing in the government has been, let's say, the beginning of the scaling approach. Later on, Aqua for All and Amber Flying Doctors joined. So we had a stronger partnership also to be able to reach more people. And in addition, I think locally we work with some 100 to 200 partners, all of different sizes. There can be very small ones. There can also be, we have partners who have memberships of 4 million, 1 to 4 million. So the organizations we work with differ in size. And what we try to follow as much as possible is the same approach, whether you're small or large. One thing we do not fund is hardware. We do fund the technical capacity development. We find it more sustainable. It's the usage of the systems will be higher if people pay for it themselves. So that's a little bit of a fundament underneath. We do realize that there are people who are very poor, but then we're working in tandem with government. So we think the local governments will come in that area. Now,
so Valentin, can you just for new communities, new governments that want to build back better, that want to now understand the importance of hygiene and sanitation, and want to take these new approaches that do provide more opportunities for sustainability and resilience. I mean, what would you say to them? How would you describe the Finnish Mondial approach and how they would implement it? Sort of how does it work?
Yeah, so how does it work? It's a good question. It's also one relatively easy to answer. It's again coming back to the diamond. It's on demand, supply side, bringing in local finance and bringing in the government. Okay. And having done this is so much easier. So what we can do.
And so it's local finance to finance the construction of sanitation, and toilets plus the on-site waste management, the circular sanitation that produces co-compost.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So having done this, first of all, we have a track record, but secondly, for governments or partners who want to see it first, we can say, okay, we can take you to site A, B, or C. You can go and look for it yourself, how it works, interact with the people, and come back with your observations. So we are.
And the financing is for individual households, or financial institutions.
2 or 3 types. So one is for individual households. That's through microfinance. Then we work with financial partners who do finance the small and medium enterprises, and more actually the micro. We would say you always have to be careful if you talk about small and medium, whether you talk about European small and medium, or let's say African small and medium. They're 2 different corners of. They're quite different in size. For instance, one of the things, we are one of the founders of the Take a Stake Fund. And Take a Stake Fund deals with entrepreneurs in India, Uganda, and Kenya who are requiring 100,000 euros or more, which of course is in the European context certainly it's a small enterprise, and quite often there it's quite a sizable enterprise, and they are not able to get money from the banks typically because it's too small, and it's too large for microfinance. So that's one of the missing middles. And together with our partners, we're trying to address some of these missing middles without distorting markets. That is what we find very important. The markets are functioning to a certain extent, but if you want them to function better, then try to not intervene in their tariff setting and whatever, but try to intervene in what is missing today. And today,
sorry, Valentin, just to connect some dots. The Toilet Board Coalition runs an accelerator program. Really, the backbone of our work is supporting entrepreneurship and small businesses with solutions, sanitation economy solutions, to transform these systems from cost to value. And so, what you're describing with Finish Mondial is really, I think, as we see in our partnership, is a fitting together of some important pieces here of the financing that these small businesses need, and of course the expertise of your organization and partners of working with local governments on the ground, your diamond approach, because I think what we see now after 5 years of helping to build a pipeline of these new business solutions for sanitation is now we need more. So the scale that you've talked about, reaching 1 million people, we need every one of these businesses to be reaching 1 million people. And so that's, I think, how we see connecting to the Finish Mondial model with the support of SMEs, but also the households that could buy the product. So can you maybe talk about that in the context of what's next? Especially now with awareness being high, and really interested in what you're seeing on the ground in terms of new demand for in the areas that you're working in, new demand for sanitation and hygiene solutions.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, it's definitely, the financing is definitely an area of mutual interest, and definitely we are interested in your companies in the accelerator program, because they also can reach out, so their increase will help serve more people. So that's definitely one element of interest. Another one which I would like to highlight is that many circular economy activities require a different kind of waste to be added to purely sanitation waste, and that's organic solid waste. And fortunately, waste has been set up in 1983 with a purview of dealing with solid waste management in developing countries. So this has been the backbone of the organization, and only in 1990 sanitation was added to the fray. So these 2 lines come together, we think, in the circular sanitation economy. And we have done this organically in India. So we started with sanitation, and now we're becoming one of the bigger players in the solid waste field as well, and integrating the 2. And this has tremendous potential for business and for scale. And if you talk about, let's say, political buy-in, governments, local governments can lose elections. They never lose them on sanitation. They can lose them on solid waste management. Of course, Ghana being an exception, because with public toilets there you can lose an election. But other than that, so that's where we do see another area where I think we would be very interested in is some of your companies they do a lot of training. And to tweak and twist training to reach out to more people, that's something I think we could collaborate on. We are always trying to institutionalize training so that we don't have to do it ourselves. So if it's either anchored in government institutes or it can be anchored in private sector, but you need a sizable private sector. And I think you have some of the bigger players in the market are part of the coalition. So that to me would be another area of great interest. And perhaps is something for you to think about whether you would like to associate yourself with the ISWA, that's the International Solid Waste Management Association, because they are also coming from their angle into the circular economy. That's without sanitation waste for now, but they come out from organic solid waste. And that's mainly on city level. So this could be of interest, I think, to also get that alignment. We are a member of ISWA, so we could also help in that.
And Valentin, what countries, you mentioned Ghana, you mentioned India, what countries are you currently applying these solutions, and do you already have a future outlook to add more countries?
Yeah, so today we are in Bangladesh and India. We are active in Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Those 6 are key membership countries, or membership I shouldn't say, key countries of activity. We do work in Mali and some others. But under Finnish Mondial we have 6, and we are looking forward to setting up, I think, about 10 units or so in the next coming year, I would say. And the business model we foresee is 2 types. One is a franchise model, small plants, but then with the quality control by the franchise holder. And the second one is more like a community-based enterprise type, where we have to work out who's going to do the control. That's something a little bit more dicey, it has a lot of social impact, but a group of people to form them into entrepreneurs, you know, it's not an easy task. But it's a rewarding task if you succeed, but it takes a lot of effort.
I think you mentioned really a key there is training, and I think the accelerator program has really tried to provide that training model, as you say, from large corporations with a lot of expertise and strategic interest, you know, in this system, and so we'd like to also see that you know, this expertise spread more broadly across even more entrepreneurs and small businesses looking to provide solutions in the sanitation economy. And one of our strategies, as you know, for the next 5 years is also to expand that reach locally. And part of the interest in our partnership is because of your expertise locally. You're already reaching scale with financing. And so in terms of solutions for the sanitation economy, as communities and cities and countries look to build back better, this is a model that we hope that we can apply more broadly and work with more partners together as Waste, Finnish Mondial, and the Toilet Board Coalition. So I thank you, Valentin, just a short time today to hopefully be able to share more broadly the solutions of Finnish Mondial and how you're supporting the sanitation economy entrepreneurs and supporting households as well to be able to afford these new solutions. Thank you. And
can I just say one thing, because I didn't answer you properly on COVID.
Yes.
So COVID-19, we are getting more involved into hand washing. Our sanitation systems, as of today, in their design should include or do include hand washing facilities. But this again is something I think where yeah, the partnership can really help, because I know you have some of the premier companies who are working in that field, who are supplying materials. So having our designs maybe even vetted by them, or having them looked at our designs and changing a little bit, working on the material supply could be an area of mutual interest as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. And absolutely the pivots that we're seeing, the new solutions that businesses and organizations are applying in terms of making hand washing and hygiene much more explicit to really meet the new demand, the new responsibility really of all of us in this new world where hygiene is playing a very different role in all of our lives. So so thank you. Looking forward to continuing to discuss that, Valentin, and I know that many of the partners will be very interested in that. So thank you again, and
thanks, Cheryl.
and talk soon. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye for now.